When we want to do something more than once, we use a while statement.
Oh, good. We get to do something over and over and over and over and over and over.
A while loop is a construct that lets us cause a section of code to happen more than once. It has a condition at the top. A condition is something that is true or false, and instructions inside the curly brackets, which is the code that gets repeated. Remember, in this notation, things inside the triangle brackets, like the condition, get filled in when we write the code. Also, // makes the compiler ignore the rest of the line, so that's just a comment meant for humans. When the instruction starts, the condition is checked. If it is true, the stuff inside the loop executes. Then the machine goes back to the top of the loop, checks the condition, and continues to execute the loop until the condition is false. That's how the statement ends, and the machine moves on to the following statement. That sounds pretty complicated, but it really isn't. Let's see what this example does.
Be the machine.
As we execute it, I'll read the code, but the green arrow will show you which statement we're currently executing. The first statement declares a variable named count that's going to hold an integer. That causes us to write count in a box in our memory diagram. Count gets the value 0 will cause us to put a 0 in the variable named count. Now the while loop starts. The condition is count is less than 4. So it goes and gets the value that is in count, which is 0, compares it to 4, and it is less than 4, so the condition is true. That means that we're going to execute the code inside the loop. System.out.println count is going to go and get the value that is in count, because it is not in quotes, and print it to the screen. Count gets the value count plus 1. This is an assignment statement. That means the first thing that's going to happen is we're going to evaluate the right-hand side of the equals, the count plus 1. So it's going to go and get the value that's in count and add 1 to it, getting the value 1. Then it's going to store that in the variable that's on the left-hand side of the equal sign. That will make us overwrite the 0 that is in count with a 1.
Oh, now I see why we read that equal sign as gets the value. If we read it as equal signs, our minds might explode because count can never be equal to count plus 1.
This system.out.println is going to make us write out the string, hi with an exclamation point, because that is inside quotes in the parentheses. Now we've hit the bottom of the loop, so it goes back up to the while statement to start all over again. So when the loop starts again, it compares count to 4. Count is 1, that is still less than 4, so it goes and does the stuff inside the loop again. This print line is going to print out the value in count, so it's going to print out a 1. This time, the assignment statement is going to go and get the value in count, which is a 1, and add 1 to it, getting the result of 2, and store that back into count, overwriting its 1.
I think it's time that we admit that we do this variable gets the value variable plus 1 a lot. We do it so much that it has its own name. It's called incrementing the variable, and it will always make its value get bigger by 1.
Thanks, Zumi. Like the first time, this print statement is just going to make hi and an exclamation point get printed out. We've hit the bottom of the loop, so we go back up to the top. Again, it compares the value in count to 4. 2 is still less than 4, so we go inside the loop again. This time, it'll print out the value of count, which is 2. It will increment count to make it become 3, and then it will print out hi. We're at the bottom of the loop. We go back to the top. It compares the value of count to 4. 3 is still less than 4, so it does the loop again. It prints out the value that's in count, which is a 3. It increments count to make it be a 4, and then it prints out hi with an exclamation point. The bottom of the loop, we go back to the top. It compares count to 4. The value in count is 4, which is no longer less than 4. That's going to stop the loop. When the loop finishes, execution continues with the next statement in the code. So the system.out.println done will cause the done to show up in our output. Hey, Zoomy, do you see why we try to be the machine instead of trying to see the big picture of the code?
Yes, I do. If I just looked at this code, it'd be hard to know where do the highs go and where do the numbers go, and does 3 get printed, and does 4 get printed, and where's the done? It's just easier to execute the instructions one at a time. After you've done that, then you can generalize to see the purpose of the loop.
While a loop is running, the condition is checked only at the top of the loop. Even if the condition becomes true partway through the loop, the entire body of the loop will run. The machine only thinks about one statement at a time. While it's inside the loop, it isn't thinking about that condition. Only when you go back to the top of the loop will the condition be checked.